welcome to episode 540 of This Week in League. I'm Nate.
And I'm Jay.
And I'm Glenn.
Surprising no one, Glennie is on one again. Aren't you, mate? How you going?
I'm a fucking delight. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
He's just spent the last 20 minutes with us sitting here while he looked for something to make himself look less dark.
Yeah, which is frankly like topical if nothing else.
Yeah.
Oh, quality.
Fucking hell.
Here I am. I still look red, even in the dark. Stupid influence of light
it's
not
true.
working.
Yeah, no, it is strange how dark. I mean, like, why don't you just have a light on in your fucking room, man?
I do.
I mean,
I've
you
got
one in
both
the back
lights.
corner.
They're just
It looks like the one on your left behind you, the bulb's blown.
Yeah, it's fucked. It needs replacing. That's a weekend job.
Anyway, that's riveting for people who can't actually see.
That's it.
So
You brought it up.
Glennie's looking dark.
Why don't we talk about your
and
room?
We don't
It
have
looks
a
like
problem
shit
with that.
because
we don't
you're
have a
in
problem
it.
with that.
No, we do not. We would never ever say anything derogatory about your shade, Glennie.
Exactly.
I'm glad to
We're
hear
leaving
it.
you to say that all by yourself.
Don't discriminate against reds.
Are we going to launch straight into that business or what?
Why not?
What else is there to talk
seems
about?
to be-
There's no Toowoomba C
Yeah,
grade
exactly.
touch.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, that's stuff fucking ages. I mean, if you're a committed listener of the podcast, yeah, particularly where it comes to Toowoomba C grade touch, I mean, you may as well take the fucking month off because.
Or if you play C grade touch in Toowoomba and you only ever listen to the first 10 to 15 minutes of the podcast just to get your fill of touch football, probably turn it off now and come back later.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah,
you're saying, Glennie, this season we've got to do the C grade touch review at the end.
Nah,
It's like the fucking
I don't think
in the supermarket.
they've got. They haven't got that in them. They're not listening through this bullshit to get to C grade at the end.
Sounds like we're going to find out though.
Yeah.
Sounds like we're going to find out. And you can test them at training. Maybe it could be a criteria like who runs.
They'll be like, yeah, it's not at the start. We
bench
stopped listening. Shut up and train, fatty. That's what they'll say.
We'll just start throwing shade at them at the end of the episode. Be like, saw that fucking cunt in the link position last week. It's fucking useless.
Nope.
See if he swings at you at training.
We'll not be saying that.
Now, listen, we had Las Vegas was a tremendous success, but it was marred with like 11 minutes to go in the second game, where Spencer Gleniu allegedly racially abused Ezra Mam of the Broncos, reportedly calling him a monkey in the second of. It seemed like sort of 5 minutes earlier there was they came together, and then and the next time the Broncos were heading down that way, then the actual incident happened, and so on the field at the time, the referee stated that he didn't hear it, but Ezra Mam elected to make a formal complaint, and it's going through to the judiciary to be assessed. Then later on that night, the two teams which. Look, I guess you don't expect there to be bad blood in games and things like that, but the two teams' hotel rooms were on the same floor, like right apart from each other. And it just so happened that Spencer Gleniu was returning to his room with I think a media manager or whatever of the Roosters, and from the other direction comes Katoni Staggs, Ezra Mam, and someone else who I forget. And so Spencer Gleniu then goes at Mam again. So telling him that you got to leave things on the field, and to me, as alleged as the statement he made on the field was, the fact that he's saying you should leave it on the field implies to me that it exists and happens.
That is as close to an admission.
Yeah, and then you get his cousin on Instagram putting posts up, overlaying comments like things like "now all the tribe are crying" or something. Like he's like.
And that was it. Yeah, that was on Latrell. It's
that's right. It was over Latrell's reel. Yeah. And then there was another one he did afterwards as well, which was even worse. And so let's just say it hasn't been a banner week for the wider Gleniu clan, and that'd be happening as we speak, right?
Judiciary.
The judiciary.
You talk, I'll goog.
Yeah. Okay.
So
look, I mean, obviously we don't need to really clarify where we stand on this matter. I mean, like, well, at least me and Jay. I mean,
yeah, you guys are fuckheads. Honestly,
Glennie's from Glenie being up in Toowoomba. I mean, Glenie probably telling him to take a seat in the fucking famous brown stand and shut up. But I mean, me and stepdad don't feel that way at all. So I mean, we've got a majority rule here. By majority rule, this podcast does not condone racism in any form.
Spencer Gleniu may have other things to say. So.
Fuck. Nate, say something so I can see the camera pan to you and you jotting that down. You fucker.
Look. Yeah. Can I? Would it surprise you to learn that title has already been seeded like 3 days ago?
Right. Okay. No, it doesn't surprise me.
Stepdad was waiting to fucking. He was waiting to drop that on you. I didn't know if it was in our chat or if you just texted it to me or if you put it in the group chat.
I thought I put it in the group chat.
Nope.
Yeah, I thought you did too, but yeah.
No. Shows how much attention I pay when Jay's name comes up on my phone.
So, Glennie, do you have any comments to make? What do you see the punishment being? What do you think would be fair in terms of length of punishment or whatever? Do you think that any punishment is fair indeed at all if they can't acquire clear audio that proves whether it did or not? Like whether you can actually hear it on any audio. I know myself. I went back and watched that part of the game on the Channel 9 stream and on the KO stream. And it just so happens that, like, right before the break in play, where it happens, it's broken down because Reece Walsh, had a fractured pussy or something, and the commentators, the camera was on him, and all the commentators are just talking about, what happened to Reece Walsh? He's down on his haunches, and blah blah blah, and so the other stuff's happening, 15 meters infield. And the cameras aren't there. Nothing. And it wasn't until afterwards, then they pan up and they go, "Oh, okay, something's happened," and the referee's calling players out and so on. So, give me your thoughts, Glennie.
Look, it's as you say, it's not something that we need to make a lot of comments about where we stand. Right? We've made. We've discussed
at least 66% of this podcast are very anti-racism.
Okay, no, that's fantastic. I really appreciate your input. Of course, the only part of this this podcast that has a black wife and a black kid. But yes, no, I'm a racist. No, it's fantastic.
You're an enigma wrapped in a riddle.
I commend. Ezra Mam for standing up and making that formal complaint, and I'm disappointed not only in the act itself and the from Gleniu, but the old adage of what happens on the field stays on the field shouldn't and doesn't, obviously in this case, apply to racial slurs, and I think the game's progressed past that, and I'm glad that Ezra Mam had the power of his convictions to stand up and make that formal complaint and stand on it. I actually like that people like Latrell and other significant Indigenous players within the NRL have stood up behind him.
Yep.
I think that's important. And I think Gleniu deserves to be punished. Probably doesn't deserve to be hung, drawn, and quartered. I think he needs to face the music. He needs to face a punishment.
I mean, John Hopewadi fingered a guy and he didn't get fucking executed by being pulled apart by horses.
It's a lot of the times, we talk about teachable moments, and I think this is one. But he definitely deserves to face consequences. I think that's an important part of the process. But equally as important is that he and certainly some members of his family probably have some education to get up to speed on and learn from it. And I think that's an important way forward with this sort of rubbish behaviour. But if he faces the music and he cops the punishment, I think it'll be fairly extensive and a long suspension. But to learn from it and hopefully that's one or a few more people that understand how hurtful those types of comments are and do better in the future. That's what we hope.
I'll tell you, the thing I can't stand here is fucking Spenny's managers come out. Quality human being, as we know all managers are. And
who's his manager?
I don't fucking know.
Michael Redpath.
No. It's
okay.
Yeah, not him, which is that's my separation for managers' personality traits.
Redpath, and then we have a group not Redpath.
Yeah. The Vendo. Very separate. But he's coming out and saying, oh, well, because, multiple NRL players have come out and said, no, if that's gone on, that is not okay. It needs punishment. The punishment needs to be severe. And we stand behind that. And the manager's coming out saying, oh, they all need to be quiet. They shouldn't be commenting or suggesting he's guilty or saying he should be suspended because now it's impossible for him to have a fair hearing. And it's this constant fucking bullshit. Like, don't even get me started on the fact that these dumb fucks turn up with actual lawyers to not a courtroom. They turn up with actual real-life lawyers and pay real-life lawyer fees to go not to court.
Mm-hmm.
It is a fucking joke. This one should just be as simple as the NRL rules on it. Too fucking bad. You can write down, you shouldn't have a lawyer there to defend you.
Yeah.
Absolute fucking bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, I would hope that they can find audio just to put it all, to take it out of any realm of fuckheads, not the people involved, but the fuckheads around the discourse.
Yep.
So that so people can't say shit about it.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Because it's just a shit show. Otherwise, I'm mostly disappointed in Gleniu, and like obviously the comments the first thing, but then after the game, even when they said like you worried about anything like that, and he was just like so like.
Yeah.
Not at all. Like so casual. Like I didn't do shit. Then he goes and pursues him later on that night to sort of to do the whole stays on the field thing. But then you get these fucking people around it as well. Like fucking Ivan Cleary had no fucking business speaking up about this shit. He should have shut his fucking hole. But he comes out and he's like saying, it's not his go. Blah blah blah. Like, listen.
Well, here's the
you
thing,
defended
right?
the guy that you defended the guy that fucking did.
Oh, here comes Ivan Cleary's lawyer to defend him not in court.
No. Yeah, they've gone to Ivan and asked him for a comment.
He defended Taylor, and he defended Taylor. And then you just say, listen, it's not. I've got no comment. He doesn't play for my team.
Ivan's not going to sit there and go, oh, well, yes, I always had my suspicions. One time I found a copy of the Blakely Manifesto in his fucking training kit, so I always knew he had it in him. He just goes, it was out of character, I never saw it in him. Plus, there's that thing of...
He did say, if he had said it exactly like that, then there wouldn't have been a problem.
What did he say?
He went, I don't have the thing open in front of me, but I mean, he sort of went to bat. He went to bat doing like to vouch for like the character sort of thing, which he didn't, which say no comment because I mean, this is the same guy that vouched for the character of his son when he was fucking breaking the COVID rules and lying about it, and then the guy that was fucking filming the chicks while he was fucking banging them and sending the revenge porn around, who later was run out of the game in Australia for that. And I tell you. Maybe that should be evidence. Maybe that should be evidence about the fact that Gleniu actually did fucking do it.
Not only does he fucking back the players, he puts his money where his mouth is and lets them date his daughter. So, he can't fault his conviction to his fucking position.
That's true. Just
surely,
like fucking,
though,
just like Jim Jones and fucking.
Oh fuck no.
the Guyana crew.
Surely the fact that they spoke about it afterwards, and there would have been multiple witnesses afterwards where he said you should have left it on the field. Then that bullshit stuff where he's come off the field, and that everyone's gone, oh, you worried about your racial complaint, and he's just gone, nah, it's just a bit of banter on the field.
Yeah, no, you worried about you worried about no, not at all. And then the other person that I was disappointed by was Trent Robinson when he was sitting on the panel at the end of the game. They had like Gordy and Fletch and Hindy on there, and they were sort of doing a bit of rundown. When they came to that question, he was saying something like he's going, look, like Ezra's adamant about what was said, but that doesn't mean he's right. Yeah, I think. Motherfucker, what the fuck is what's the East media manager doing at this point, though? No. I mean, both of those cunts should have been thrown in fucking Guantanamo for the rest of the Vegas thing. Don't speak to anybody. Don't say shit, because you cunts clearly, despite no doubt the hours and hours and hours of media training you've been afforded, particularly Trent Robinson by the club, you've learned fucking nothing.
But the saddest
shut up.
thing
Say the process will play out in the judiciary. Then that's it.
He's going to now have a target on his back, and rightly so. And it's not because he did what he did. You know what? If he'd have come out and said something, and then afterwards realised it was the wrong thing, and I'm so sorry, and remorseful and genuinely sorry about it.
Yeah. Actually said himself, like, look, it was a heat of the moment thing. I mean, that shit is not on.
It.
I expect to be punished for it, and whatever happens, happens because we can't do. We can't do that in the game. Yeah, exactly.
Latrell's not inviting him round for fucking Sunday dinners at this stage. However, at the moment, he's had almost every prominent Indigenous player in the comp.
Yep.
Post something about it. And they'll fucking remember this and it is just that lackadaisical attitude about it that gets them.
Yeah, just super cavalier.
And
yeah,
it's sad because people in his heritage have suffered in different ways as well at the hands of the same style of history that Indigenous Australians have suffered from.
And not to mention that fucking the racist rednecks, I'm sure, don't even paint any differentiation between them at all.
Yeah,
and would throw the exact same slurs at the both of them.
Yeah,
indiscriminately. Yeah. So it's disappointing, and also the fact that it's kind of because it's an ongoing story that hasn't yet been wrapped up by the media, because the sentence or whatever hasn't come down. I mean, it's this like lingering, bad vibe after all of the awesome shit that come out of that weekend in Vegas.
So here we are. There's nothing official. Fresh Vision shows how the Broncos reacted to Gleniu amid racism saga.
That's just like on the field when
Walters is willing to testify.
I'm not sure Kevy's got anything that you can really say other than speak to the effect it had on.
Billy Walters. Yeah, I understand. You forget that he's a first grade player, don't you? I do too.
Yeah.
Who knows? We'll keep abreast. We'll keep refreshing, so that tomorrow when you actually listen to this and it has broken, we can tell you it's broken.
Yeah, all we can say at this stage, it has not. It is not broken. And and I hope that he learns his lesson after the 8 weeks that he receives in suspension. We'll just drop in the number there at the end. All right, what do you want to talk about now, Glennie? Do you want to talk about Vegas? You got something else you want to bring in?
Oh, I think
this is one feature of the show this year.
The overwhelming
one feature of the show this year is that we're not going to be we're going fucking. We're doing it live. We're just fucking.
Just winging it.
We're just winging. Yeah. We're winging this shit.
But
and live from the internet.
Just so people can still feel comfortable and cling to the things they love most. You guys are still fuckheads, so that's important.
The thing is though. So go ahead, mate.
I think the whole Vegas thing. outside of that incident was great. We spoke about it in regards to the week leading up and the games themselves, the stadium, the field. It was all amazing. Ratings come out today, and the media's jumped all over that and are shitting on it. But I was pretty happy with Volandis after the Brisbane Roosters game, where he said, this is we're here for 5 years. It might take 3 or 4 years to get the numbers that we're hoping to get, but this is a long. We're playing the long game, and this is step one of the process. And I think that's a important comment for him to make, to show this isn't just a flash in the pan. There is a legitimate attempt here to make some headway, and increase revenue streams, more market presence and more viewers and more sponsorship dollars and all of which can only benefit the game as a whole. And hopefully it happens from grassroots all the way through to the peak of the sport. So overwhelmingly, I think it was a great event. This, now they've got the first one out of the way. There's no doubt some tweaks and adjustments and things that they have worked out that they could probably do better. I don't know what they are, because to me it looked great, but
it almost went off pretty much flawlessly in terms of the event management side of things.
Yeah, and I was actually really impressed with Abdo and Volandis when they were talking to the panel there after the game. They actually handled that and spoke very well, and in overwhelmingly positive terms about the game and the experience in Vegas and what they have planned and the strategy behind it. And I think the more I see of those guys, as unlikely a couple of administrators or heads of the game as they might be, in very differing personalities, they actually complement each other quite nicely. Volandis is a pretty footloose and fancy free operator. He comes from, the borderline mafia world of racing, and you can tell. Abdo's a lot more polished, and they're not always going to get it right, and they're going to have their detractors. That's the nature of the positions they're in. But it's a big tick on the Vegas trip.
I think the game's been in crisis mode for such a majority of the last, at least 5 years, if not even longer, with, constant player behaviour issues. And cast your mind back. The stuff we had this off-season is absolutely nothing. There was a stage where it was constant DV, glassings and drunken fights and all this other stuff was going on almost constantly throughout the year. Then obviously the COVID period, and would the game shut down and could it keep going, and where are we going to play, and all of that other stuff. It's really nice to have a sport and a league behind it that has a plan for the future. And this is the first time in ages, and it wasn't even done in a slap your face method. It's just sort of, everyone's now just sort of come to that realization. Shit, they are planning long term with this. This is something that they can put on for 5 years.
Yeah, and then after the whole COVID business and everything like that, there's a big increase in profits over the last financial year.
Yep.
Big rise in crowds, big jump in ratings, double digit, 25% rise in crowds, double digit TV audience increase. So they're in a good financial position at the moment in terms of having the assets and the surpluses that they're making year on year now.
Yeah.
And anything that they can get out of America is just going to be a massive bonus.
That's it.
But the only thing they don't do right so far for the American audience is the only way they can watch it is by subscribing to that Watch NRL app.
Yeah.
And it's fucking expensive. It is fucking expensive.
How much is it
for people outside of Australia? It's going to cost you it's like $150 US a year. Now, that's probably Game Pass level kind of expenditure for NFL. And I think if they were really serious maybe they should, just start, subsidising that or chuck a year for free to people or something. Because you're not going to get the Fox Sports coverage. So you need to give people an ability to, or throw them on YouTube for a geo-blocked. I mean, like they put complete games on YouTube now and on the NRL website, like the day after or something like that.
Yeah.
They need to provide an easy avenue for them to actually view the sport.
I think that
on TV or streaming,
that horse has bolted. In terms of these days, a lot of it is going to be you're going to get people who, just like Aussies here, they want to turn the game on and then have a social media experience on their phone while they watch it.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. It's $200 a year. Oh, hang on, that's Australian dollars. It's 200 Australian for League Pass. You're right. That has to be dealt with. Unfortunately, in the last negotiation, and this is where, we spoke about this at the time. Because of COVID, their backs were against the wall so fucking hard that part of the negotiations last time was the dismantling of the digital app and the digital experience here in Australia. So this is where that
the
decision,
single worst thing that's happened in that reign.
Oh, it's fucking horrid.
I mean, now we're fucking chained to that KO cocksucker.
Yeah.
Which is Foxtel. Watch the games.
It's Foxtel. KO is Foxtel.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if it had an easy, like you said, to access, did you want? And they've got to understand that because they're what is it? So football, basketball, baseball, ice hockey, American Premier League soccer, whatever they fucking call it over there.
Yep.
Lacrosse, UFC.
Yep.
The lingerie gridiron one. Well, so what are we? We're now an 8th.
Do they still exist?
I don't know.
Do they still exist? The lingerie. I don't know if they. I feel like I'd know if they still existed. But, yeah.
We're an 8th. We're an 8th choice at this stage.
Yeah.
Yep. Then again, they have to also be reticent of that thing that if you price yourself at $5.95 a month, any price rise is met with, oh my God, you're raising the price of, and I'm not getting anything extra.
Yep.
So.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Yep. All right, let's talk about the games then. Hey, nothing else about Vegas you want to talk about? Did you have any reports on Wars and his experiences over there? Has he checked in?
Well, he's a Broncos fan, so his experience over there would have been fucking horrible, just like it was at the grand final. So
yeah, but I mean that's the game itself. I mean, but there's a lot of lot of stuff going around there. But the game itself wasn't the trip. The whole trip. It was just
put it this way.
Yeah, a miserable 80 minutes of it.
Apparently, he lost as hard in Vegas as the Broncos did in the grand final last year.
Does that mean he was well up? He was well up and didn't walk out of the casino at the right time? Is that what you're saying? He stayed in the casino 20 minutes too long?
No, it's just a big chin guy came over and ass fucked him when he didn't want it. So, yeah. So, and to paraphrase a message I got from him, I have spent thousands and thousands of dollars in the last 4 months to watch the Broncos lose 2 games of football. So,
yep.
Congratulations.
Absolutely sensational. I would like to congratulate you for only the worst things in life. And as a Broncos fan, that is exactly what you deserve.
Yep. Please keep coming to Broncos games.
Yeah.
This is how Jay treats his fans.
Not a ton of Manly fans that went over there. They all had some great fucking time. Spoke very highly of it. Our buddy Special K, he was over there with a bunch of Manly fans because everyone he works with lives on the peninsula. So he's now become a Manly fan after the Vegas trip. He gets it, and I'm sure anyone hear this to come back. Okay, the first game, the Manly side won 36-24. We're not going deep into the into the line scores and everything like that. Gleniu, give us your thoughts on the game, mate. I'll go last.
Look, I thought Manly were good. Rabbitohs did themselves no favours. They really made some errors, critical errors, which Manly were good enough to capitalise on, and they continued to make them, which only increased their frustration levels, which impacted how fluid their game was for large patches of the game. There were times, and we even commented during the members-sode about, you know, that the try that AJ scored on the left there, that was, you know, the epitome of South's left side, and so, you know, it's there, and it's always going to be there when they've especially when they're full strength. So a bit for the Bunnies to work on, but the same sort of Achilles heels, you know, they get in their own heads, and the frustration. Sometimes it's with themselves, sometimes it's things the opposition does to get under their skin, and it's a problem if teams, you know, the good teams know that they can get at them mentally. That's a dangerous position for South to be in. But I thought Manly were good. Tommy got through the game. He had a few good moments. I said in the members-sode as well, I'm happy for Brooksy. It's good to see him happy. He played some good footy, had some good moments, and so I'm happy for him. And, you know, just had to sit through listening to you fucking spurt for half the game.
It's the happiest 80 minutes I've ever seen from Brooksy. The little legs were pumping, and it wasn't all for naught.
When you strip everything down, though, I'm not sure. This is, everyone was saying, "Oh, Souths were so disappointing." This is like.
No, Souths were okay.
It was well, no. The difference
For
in the
round
game
one?
was one try and goal kicking. The difference is it was one try and goal kicking. Latrell had a fucking shot.
Yeah, I mean that's not.
Yeah,
I mean that's not really, you know, the flow of the game though, because I mean that last try the Rabbits got was a fucking. I feel like that was to give Americans the full taste of the NRL, including the bunker doing mystifying fucking decisions, awarding tries that were double movements. But
I tell you, the Bunnies can throw a fucking intercept. South Sydney and fucking intercept passes.
Yep.
Jesus fucking Christ! That and a 5-1
same side of the field, different guy. I mean, it was Latrell that threw this one, but same side of the field, same sort of relative position in the field.
Do you know the fascinating thing out of this one? Did you see the penalty count, the ruck infringements? 6 penalties. Six penalties in total for the game, and 3 ruck infringements.
Yeah, I think it was weird. I think it feels like we got nearly all the penalties, and they got nearly all the 6 agains.
No.
Which is fucking...
No. So there were 3 ruck infringements. You had 2 and they were 1. There were 6 penalties, and you're right, 5-1 in your favour. In your favour.
Yep.
Yeah, it's the first game of the season. If South Sydney hold the ball, then they keep momentum in that second half, and who fucking knows? But yeah. Yeah,
the thing that there were a couple of things that were different to previous years, which I really enjoyed, is like the fitness of the side. We were over the top of them at the end of both halves. I mean, they're pretty much on top the entire game. I mean, not in the scoreboard, but just in terms of the play. Ran for over 200 metres more in the game. Daly kicked the shit out of them as well, you know, with the boot. And just the way that they were prepared, not just for the season, but prepared for this particular game with the field the way it was. Because I mean, we're a team that, like, you know, we like to get it out to Saab and, you know, get it out to the wings, and it's, you know, more difficult, you know, with a narrower field. So they just hammered those channels there just on the edges, and like Hamoli was a no-brainer that he was always going to be that guy, you know, and he was the cheat code that he always is. Especially like when they figured out that Richie Kenner couldn't fucking move laterally. They just started hammering him with it, you know, for the entire second half, and he had a pretty unhappy second half. Although he does go in the history books, he will be that pub quiz answer to the question now, like who was the first NRL player to score a try in Las Vegas. But Ben Trbojevic, the physical way that he played as well, he was. I mean, he was drilling Cook and Walker all game. long. And look, Brooksy, the way that Brooksy fucking got through Cook to score his try at the end, that was what it wasn't just that he scored his try, but like to go through Cook so easily, and then with Cody Walker missing him again on the way to the line. I mean, that was extra satisfying. But overall, like I was very happy with all of the Manly players, with the exception of Jackson Polo. The depth for wingers, I mean, we got rid of some dead wood, but we've got some wood that's, it's only got a touch of green through it as well. So I don't think he's long for this world in terms of, the injury to Saab would have helped him out, helped him stay out a bit longer, because he was like a 50-50 like coin flip to win the spot for the first game. And I think he would have been gone this next round had Saab not got injured. But yeah, look, the fitness is looking good. The preparation of the guys, their roles is looking really good for round one as well. Because I mean, like you're trying to think, like it looks it's just a round one game, but there's some things they did that were just great. They definitely played both sides of the field, especially through the edges, a lot better. They weren't just swinging it out to the sidelines and trying to make breaks with the speedmen. And then just overall fitness and the way they don't have like the hugest pack, and they're definitely light on props at the moment, given that they've got some injuries a suspension to Sipley and the injury to Lodge. The fact that they got like guys like Nathan Brown were like huge coming, and Bullimore were just huge, like with motors, like not the biggest guys, but with motors, just carrying them forward, late in the halves when they came on. And it was a great debut for Brown, I've got to say. I mean, if you're watching the documentaries through the preseason, they had like a hell camp that they put new arrivals and rookies through, and he was the guy that came out of that and got the award at the end of it for being the guy that was like, the hardest trainer or the blah blah, whatever. So, which ultimately won his spot in the side, I think. But yeah, great start. Keep it going. And yeah, go Brooksy. The next game,
hang on, socials.
Roosters. Sorry.
Socials.
Oh, we got socials. Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot we did put the thread up while we were.
We certainly did.
That's right.
We certainly fucking
out of
did.
practice.
And by we, I mean you.
Yeah.
Scott said Luke Brooks is who we thought he is. Then there was plenty of discussion.
I love that. That was like
different people's ideas of what he thought he is.
I think I feel like I don't know what the timestamp on it, but I think that was like the first comment, wasn't it? So I don't know. Like Brooksy made one mistake all game, but I don't know what he was referring to at the time when he posted that. But I think it was way earlier than when he threw that pass, though. I mean, it was the first comment on the game, so it had to have been, right?
Yeah, that's it. Kevin,
yeah, he certainly had to change his tune as the thread went on.
He said, my 3 takeaways from this game: Brooks could make Manly dark horse contenders. Saab is really evolving into a legit winger. Latrell is the most overrated player in the comp. He lacks involvement, fitness, and urgency of a superstar fullback. That is an apt description. Carsten,
Latrell was he was on one for most of that game.
I mean,
he wasn't.
I think that's off.
Latrell,
I'm not saying that doesn't apply to Latrell plenty of times, but I disagree with this game.
And look, he might have been getting tired in the last 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah,
but he was on one before that. I mean, he had a very good game before that point.
But is that the thing? Is that the thing though? An elite fullback, obviously they're going to be tired. It's hard to get game fit without any games. You can train as much as you want, but it's not games. But he's blowing as hard as he was in the last 15, 20. What an elite fullback does.
But I think all the players like the entire Manly side was fucking blowing up at 10 minutes, but then then the training started kicking in, and then got the second win and came home strong. I don't think Latrell was the only guy blowing out there.
Not at all. Carson, why did they take 2 bottom 4 sides to Las Vegas? I don't know, maybe to make them feel special. Toto said undefeated Luke Brooks. And there were 9 different variations of Brooksvale Oval. Hammers. This Brooks kid is a superstar. I'd love to see the system that developed him.
No, you wouldn't.
Well,
actually, no, he has seen the system because he was with me that day. We went down to the fucking clubhouse at Concord.
Simon really shows how slack the Manly forwards are at running hard when the ultimate pussycat Nathan Brown looks good.
He was great.
Harsh words.
Fucking oath.
Strong. Through a lazy clothesline. We had the full Nathan Brown experience.
Bailey, watching a natural footballer escape the decline is a beautiful thing. I'm here for positive rugby league moments.
Shut
There
up.
you go. There you go. That's some
Brooks.
fucking
He's even breaking out amongst. He's even having a breakout season amongst the listeners after round one.
Man, you know what? At our core, we sow seeds of positivity.
Ish.
Oh, Jesus.
Next.
Are we going to Dairy Queen again in 2024?
Oh, I haven't searched that up in ages. I think I need to. If you haven't, fuck. I tell you.
All right.
Do you know what did come up?
Sorry, go ahead.
As a Facebook memory from 10 years ago.
What's that? Oh, the Ken Lee thing.
Did you see that?
yeah, that's right.
I'm going to post that in the Facebook group.
Yep. That is one of those old well, it's not even that old, but I mean, yeah.
Well, it's at least fucking 10 years old.
Yeah. I mean, it's not goatsy old, but it's...
No.
Yeah.
Doodly-boo-dee-boo, don't you?
The Roosters met the Brisbane Broncos in the second game, and the Roosters pulled out a pretty solid 20 points to 10 victory. Gleniu,
Certainly did.
Impressive from the
tell
Roosters.
us about the game outside the racism.
I thought the Roosters were pretty good. Thanks for leaving that out. I appreciate it. I had so many comments. Tedesco, at least for this game, looks like he's going some way to answer. He had a large army of critics last season, and both at club level and representative level, and rightfully so. His form was well down, but this was a bit of a vintage Teddy game. I think the Broncos probably just were. It's weird to say for a team that the last game they played was in the grand final, but they just lacked cohesion. I think they were just off. Everyone was trying to do,
It's not
Walsh.
because look at the last team that lost to Penrith in a grand final. That was Parramatta. Were you surprised that they were fucking shit last year? And then the year before that was South Sydney. Now they're a fucking rabble. So it's completely predictable.
Yes,
this was always going to happen. Always going to happen. Penrith steals souls.
That's awesome.
They have renamed themselves to the fucking Penrith Rowdies. That's how good they are at stealing fucking souls.
Brisbane nowhere near what we might have expected them to be, but the Roosters come out and I'm not sure I necessarily agree with this Roosters the team to beat sentiment that seems to be getting around, but it was very impressive round one showing.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was just like you'd think it's a round one match, and their errors were low, and their attack was, when they had the opportunities, was pretty good.
Yep.
And that's all you can really hope. If that's the baseline and you get away with the win, then that's great. Especially on what's an abnormal kind of difficult trip, all across the other side of the world to play your game. The Broncos, there were elements of their like their goal line defense was was still pretty decent. Their attack was disjointed and horrible. And I mean, remember one of the tries that that the Roosters did get must have been like Sabi had a good intercept and but the intercept that Manu had was like potentially the fucking easiest one we've ever seen. So they really threw that away, and with it, any opportunity to compete at the death of the business end of the game. But look, I think the Roosters were like very 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 solid.
So looking over the stats of this game, one of the things that stuck out to me initially, like these days when you look through a game and you see the top tackle, right? Where do you expect that number to be?
The top tackler?
Top tackler for each team.
Yeah, it's like, like around 35-ish.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I was going to say I'd normally expect that to be sort of mid-40s, like top tackler.
Yeah,
Right?
I mean, it depends. It depends, like on how the teams defend and if there are people that need to be picked up by other people and things like that. Like you remember, like there were times there where, like Robbie Farah was pulling like fucking
if your
60s
team's shit,
because
it means they do a lot of defence.
Yeah. Well, and again, like it's generally going to be one of the guys in the middle, but it's also because that's where the attack's directed. So here's my question.
And particularly in these games, with the narrow fields.
Yeah, 100%. But looking over it, like the Broncos' top tackler was Jordan Ricky at 52, which is obviously a little bit high.
Yeah,
but
that's pretty high, yeah.
Then you've got Lindsay Collins for the Roosters at 38. And it's spread.
Yeah, see, I would expect that to be about.
Yeah, but it's then spread, 36 for Wong, 33 for Brandon Smith. I thought he had a very good game. And they were the only 3 players made more than 30 tackles in that entire Rooster squad. Now, possession wasn't that stilted. Is that the Roosters? Is that just chance? Or is that the Broncos not being specific enough in their attack? Because I thought back to that game, and I didn't get that feeling watching it. I thought the Broncos made a really good point of really going hard all night. But were they not? Did they not have a plan enough in where they were going to try and wear the Roosters down?
Excellent question. I don't have an answer.
Yeah, interested. Let us know what you think. Put it in the
Joining
Facebook
us now,
group.
we have Kevin Walters on the line. Kevy.
Blah, 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 blah. My son got a jersey.
What do the socials say for this one?
I think we've had about my favourite comment of the season in this
All
one.
right, let's go.
Hang on. Oh, sorry, I'll just shut it down. Look, we did have our obligatory hashtag Fuck the Broncos. Justin, my
It's a way
favourite
of life.
My favourite part was when the Broncos got flogged.
Mine too.
Daniel, do the Roosters have a massive racism issue? First Tedesco calling the Asian girl a name, and now this. Is it time to remove this cancer of a team from the competition? The answer is yes. Kevin, the Roosters look big and fast. They were making meters at ease. Broncos scramble was good, but it felt like the Roosters were winning the majority of the contact. Fifth tackle options were diabolical, and our offensive discipline wasn't far behind. Old Walshy slow brains was all over the shop, while Teddy looked like he had wound back the clock 5 years. I think that's also going to be...
He was. I mean, like that was the narrative of last year how fucking cooked he was, especially through Origin.
Yeah.
And he did. I mean, he did come better as he sort of lifted towards the end of the season to make that the late entry into the finals. He got better, but he was fucking like. That was like vintage Tedesco game. Hogdesco was out the window. The runs he took and the moments that he picked were incisive. And the East is going to be much better this year if he continues to play like that.
Yeah, definitely. And to get to my favourite comment, Steve pointed out the highlight of Vegas was Adam Reynolds throwing grass in the air to check for the wind at an indoor fucking stadium.
Outstanding.
Oh, phenomenal.
Look, let's just say old habits die hard, hey? I mean, that's just that's ritual and habit,
I think on the Walsh thing, that's going to be crucial for the Broncos this year, is his floor and ceiling. Last year, they were pretty fortunate that his floor and ceiling were, they were still very far apart, but he spent more time closer to the ceiling. Because he does have a fucking handling error in his game, or he has a fucking brain snap in defence in his game. And
how's that shoulder charge
also,
over the sideline as well? It went like anything. I mean, that was a bin last year.
Yeah.
And maybe if you're not Reece Walsh and you're not.
Well, you're not in
Las Vegas.
Yeah.
There's also a lot more tape on him. I think certainly the good teams are going to find ways to nullify his impact in the game, which means he's going to have to adapt and evolve to continue to play at the level. And I think, being young, that's no mean feat. So I think he's got that ahead of him.
Up to Kevy.
Well, if it's up to Kevy, they're fucked. So let's
see what Reynolds has to say.
Let's hope Reece Walsh figures it out for himself.
Walsh's weakness is, you're right, he's young and he's full of energy and he wants to be on the ball all the time. So he will chase anything down, both sides of the field. So if you can be switching up your kicks to be where he's not, and clever halfbacks can work that, he'll run himself ragged in 3/4 of a game and be absolutely cooked for the ending of it.
Yeah, he has shown issues with cramping severely and throwing up after high levels of exertion. So maybe that's the way to get Reece Walsh out of the game. Cramp.
There you go.
All right.
Previews.
That's it for your socials?
We're done.
All right, okay, let's get on. Yep, okay. Games coming up this week. We start on Thursday night with the Knights taking on the Raiders. This one's at McDonald Jones. Thoughts? I mean, I'll admit I did not see a ton of preseason games. Actually, at all. I mean, not even the Manly ones, because I wasn't really too into watching the ones that were just like sort of Blacktown or reserve grade games with the players off gone off to Vegas and everything. Well, we had first grade players out for pretty much all trial series. So, any thoughts on the form of the Raiders on Newcastle in the lead up, Glennie?
Zero thoughts, because I watched even less trial matches than you.
What the fuck with look, Sticky has his kids.
Yes, he does. Some of them host his show.
We've been among them almost exclusively. Yeah. What the fuck is he seeing that puts Danny Levi as a starting 9? And he actually in the squad cut today, Zach Wolford dropped out.
Wow.
So that leaves I guess you got Starling on the bench, and then KO Weeks is there in 18. I mean, he's through the preseason. He was sort of playing in halves as well. So I just don't know if Danny Levi is the starting 9 for anyone in 2024.
If I said to you, I want you to write me a list of the safest hands catching a bomb in the NRL, how many props are on that list before you get to Jordan Rapana? Like, I've got at least 3.
So you're questioning his selection at fullback?
I am very much so questioning that selection at fullback. Like, he has had some all-time Barrys under the high ball.
Yep.
That's a fucking bold move, Cotton. Especially when you've got guys like Savage in the team.
Yeah, but remember, on Ricky's own words, he's got to learn how to play the game. He's got to learn to become a first grade player.
Fair enough. By doing
maybe it's happened over
The best way to learn to be a fullback is to play on the wing and defensively making up for the errors that a guy that's actually playing fullback is making.
And also watching the fucking loose unit. Like, I mean, Jordan Rapin is no one's role model either. I mean, the Savage, all he learns there is like, the odd brain snap, high tackle, Terry Tough cunt into every fucking fray.
Making a cunt, and making a cunt of yourself.
Look, if I can make it so you're 5 metres from the fucking attacking line, you can see what Kalen's doing and you might learn something. Newcastle in this one for me.
Same.
Okay, same. Newcastle at home. Canberra, no, I still don't. Look, they surprised me last year because their preseason was so fucking diabolical. Like probably the worst preseason I've ever seen for a team putting first grade players into the trials. But they came. They had a reasonable season. So look, I'm not going to write them off at this early stage. Things take a couple of weeks to settle, but Newcastle easily in this one.
Fuck Canberra and every single one of their fans, every last one of them.
I mean, you have that model for you have that motto for like 50% of the sides.
No, not really.
You've made a lot of enemies, Glennie.
Canberra and St.
Well,
George.
you've made a lot of clubs and their supporters your enemies, Glennie.
Yeah,
because I'm not sure they really ever did anything to you.
They're all cunts.
Wow.
Well, Canberra, I get it. I mean, they deprived Blocker and Ciro of the premiership.
Got nothing to do with it, and everything to do with Mike Stevenson.
Okay. I was going to say it's got nothing to do with you anyway because you're a Western Suburbs Magpie supporter at that point. You were coming dead fucking last. The Warriors versus the Sharks. Thoughts, Glennie?
Sorry. My computer just decided to lag. You got
to get your breath. You got to get your breath back.
I was about to start making comments on the Warriors Sharks game, and my computer was still telling me that the Knights and Raiders were. We were still talking about that.
Yep.
I'm excited to see RTS back, and I think the Warriors at home, off the back of what they did last year, I think they will have a very impressive showing against what promises to be a pretty tough and physical Shark side, as always. It's kind of their DNA. But I think the Warriors, they'll continue to build on what they established last year, and I think the Warriors are in for a big season.
I really hope they are. I really hope the Warriors are in for a fucking great season. They overperformed last year.
What's your metric for a great season though? Because I mean, like they had a great season last year.
They 100% they did, but I'm saying I hope they have another one. I'm not saying they didn't. I hope they have another great season. It hinges so much on whatever it was that motivated Sean Johnson to be that version of himself last year. Has to still be there.
Scaffold.
Fucking hell, man. Whatever it was that motivated him can't have just been, I've got enough for one shot at this, and we went out in the finals, so now we're back to what we were. They should be on paper a better side than last year with RTS back.
Yep.
The Sharks, though, this time of the season is their time. They are big, they are fast, they are athletic, especially in the backs. And coming in just naturally, they should be fitter than most teams they play. Should be. So
I mean, and there's a lot of continuity in that Sharks side as well. I mean, they're pretty much running out 1 through 17. Pretty much, what they ran out all season.
Just with the exception of fucking Fatakai, who they still insist is not a forward.
Yeah.
They're persisting with that fucking experiment, so...
Yeah.
Hopefully RTS just fucking scores 9 million tries against him.
Please.
It just...
Well, yeah, I mean, if they're lining up next to each, across from each other, I mean, the disparity in footwork is...
There's lateral movement,
quite something to witness.
There's not. And this is what we have in this game.
Like a jet ski fucking getting around an oil tanker. Like, it's it.
That has sunk already.
So I think... yeah. But it wasn't an oil tanker, it was actually the Titanic. And it's been sunk for that long, and it's that stuck in the fucking mud. Look, we all want the Warriors to win anyway, whether they win or not. The Storms take on the Panthers. Friday night football, Korean housewife in Melbourne. Melbourne Storm have some kind of streak to the tune of about 22 years straight where they haven't lost in round one.
Yeah.
It's on the line. For the Panthers side, they don't mind losing in round one.
No.
Even when they've been good.
Tell you what the fuck do you have to do to get a home game in round one? Win 3 premierships obviously isn't enough.
Well, you fucking got a home game last year and lost to the Broncos.
Yeah, true. So we don't deserve nice things.
Yeah, so you had your chance and then it's been revoked. You had a home World Cup challenge as well. Revoked.
Yeah. What you've got to do to get a home game
had the nice
in round
things,
one
you didn't appreciate
in
the nice
2024 is to win your fucking round one home game in 2023. Jesus.
Oh, God. Yeah, look. The the boys are coming back for another campaign with big chunks of their side gone. You know, it's the losses that they've had are by no means small. Crichton was firmly in that fucking mould just as Kickow was the year before. Whereas by the time when it was announced they were leaving, I was sad. But obviously you don't begrudge anyone that's won your club, one, let alone 2 or 3 rings, going off and chasing the money. But the end of Critter's season last year, he was just by far the best centre in the competition, and was instrumental in that grand final comeback. Cleary gets all of the hype and
he was the catalyst.
He was the architect.
He was the catalyst for it.
Yeah,
he was. I feel like he had, I think he actually should have got more of the credit for it than than Cleary mopping
that's
up.
It. And look, Cleary's got the try, narrative player.
Yeah.
So that's it there. At this stage, I was reading Munster's 50-50. He's been named in the side.
Yep.
What they do with him, let's see. But again, this is a Melbourne Storm team that I think will be smarting a bit from last year. They had some high expectations, and I think they feel like that underperformed, especially from their metrics. They're infinitely beatable. It looks as if they've got some advantages in the forwards with players like Harry Grant, but then the amazing forwards that had been their bread and butter, like Welsh is coming off the bench. I don't know whether he's a bit underdone or he had an injury in the preseason, or they're just starting him there to, see that the other guys warm up. But Penrith 13 plus, put your house on it.
I think Pappy's inclusion, as great as is to see, I think that, if he can be anywhere near his best to start the season, it probably brings Melbourne improves them slightly from the purple plotters. But
look, Penrith are vulnerable.
He looked good in that trial performance that he had.
Definitely.
I did see his trial, and he did look great. He scored an amazing trial. It was like Pappy vintage.
I guess we'll see with Melbourne. You look at that spine on paper, it's up there with the best in the competition, right? But
just
fuck, there's some plotters around them though.
On paper, it would have to be. Even if you look at that Penrith spine, Elite 7, Elite 6, Elite 1, average 9. They are
inexperienced.
They are representative.
Inexperienced,
at every level there.
Yeah, you got, like, Warbrick came on last year, really impressed with him, but Remus Smith and Nick Meaney in the centres, please. And I guess it's only nullified slightly.
Meaney did have an incredible season last year.
He's still Nick Meaney.
Again, he retire? He was gone. Didn't he retire from the Dogs?
No, he was playing. He was playing. I don't think he retired from the Dogs to get out of them. I think he just left.
Yeah, okay.
He didn't like to Pangai them.
Yeah. Okay.
You got
which is another couple we'll have to talk about one day.
I don't know. Absolute fantastic spine, but I don't like the rest of that side.
I don't like the look of the Storm side at all. And you see, it's definitely far more like sort of transitional than they're doing that thing where they're slightly getting worse in terms of personnel, slightly getting worse, and look, Penrith had to prepare for a real game, so I'm just going to say they had a more serious preparation and more settled lineup apart from the aforementioned 9. So I'm going to go with them.
Solid favourites away from home in round 1 too. Penrith $1.61 to $2.31 for the Storm.
Yeah. Penrith have won 1 from 8 in Melbourne.
Yeah, crazy. And then the Storm have got that big streak going as well. So
that's it.
I mean, look, there's a lot of omen stuff in there if you believe in it, but
and I don't, but I acknowledge it exists.
Yeah.
Doesn't that by definition mean you believe in it?
No. I acknowledge it happens. I don't believe that it happens because of an omen. You know, there's not some mystical thing that makes it happen, but these
The
things
statistics exist.
Yeah.
The statistics are real.
Here's a question.
The Eels take on the Dogs. Go ahead.
Is Dane Laurie the Gen Z Tyrone Peachy?
He's just talking about the boomerang nature and direction in which he travelled.
You know, he's sort of was great at Penrith. Fell out of favour. Left. He looked good in our jersey when they won a grand final, but you know, went to the Tigers, fell out of favour there, and then he's come back. So is he the millennial Peachy?
But he actually was great at the Tigers though too. He's like their player of the year that first year, wasn't he?
That's it.
Yeah.
But he's the Gen Z version, because he's done sort of the same stuff as Peachy, but just sort of taken a few shortcuts and it's not as good. I don't know.
Didn't take a holiday detour up to the Goldie.
Yeah, that's it. Maybe that's what he needs. Should have sent him up to fucking Des for a while.
Are you paying Tyrone Peachy a compliment? Sort of?
Fucking premiership winner Tyrone Peachy.
I think he's shitting on Dane Laurie. I don't know.
Yeah.
Puts a fucking...
I'm having trouble following the narrative.
Look, there's no narrative there. I just know. I thought about it today. I was like, oh, isn't that interesting?
Jay's speaking and everyone's confused. Fucking shocked me.
The Eels take on the Dogs. Combank Stadium, Saturday afternoon. The Dogs officially now, after getting rid of Raymond Fatala-Mariner, they have, in 3 years, have officially achieved complete roster turnover.
Wow.
He was the last remaining player from 2021.
Was he?
In their club. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
wow.
So they have completely rotated the entire squad at this point.
Yeah, you're right.
So look, what does that mean? I mean, it's, you know, you've got a relatively inexperienced coach and head coach dealing with what is, you know, large player turnover. Can he pull them together? I mean, he certainly seems to be accumulating better players over the years, but you know, there's still some gigantic holes, I think, all across that Canterbury lineup, and I'm not sure that there's.
You know what there also is in the Bulldogs lineup? Like, they've got...
What's that?
They've put a lot of time and effort and money into acquiring stars like Crichton, Addo-Carr, Burton.
Yep.
You know,
Reid Marnie,
Kickow. And then they've got the worst player in the NRL coming off the bench, Kurt Mann. Give me a fucking break. Like, way to fucking nullify all the fucking good things.
If you're going on a spending spree.
Yeah.
If you're going on a spending spree and then you get to the counter and just grab like a fucking pack of Mentos or something, Kurt Mann's just the fucking...
Kurt Mann is like when you buy a succulent Chinese meal and they give you a free packet of fucking prawn crackers. That's what it is. Give me a fucking break. Eels by plenty. Sorry?
Look, I'll tell you, at least they're playing Stephen Crichton in the centres.
Yes.
The last time they got a world-class centre from Penrith, they slapped the number 6 on his back and turned him into a case of fucking walking depression.
Look, don't discount the fact that if they didn't buy Blake Taff, Crichton would have the one on his back.
Oh, fucking hell.
Yeah. And look, it's worth also noting in the Parramatta lineup, it's the Parramatta debut of Morgan Harper in the centres, and I can see Kelma Tuilagi there on the bench as well. So let's see if he's opposite Crichton. Well, even though I think Carraz has probably got him covered.
To your point, I know the spine's obviously the most important part of the team in terms of creativity and playmaking. But we were saying that the Melbourne team had 4 elite level players, or 4 superstars.
Mm-hmm.
The Dogs, so they've got Crichton, representative player in his position. Addo-Carr, representative player in his position. Burton, they're playing him out of the centres.
But rep player?
Yeah. Marnie, rep level player.
Correct.
Kickow in the second row, rep level international.
Yep.
Like, there's 5 straight off the bat.
Yep.
and the fucking difference in quality between Melbourne and the Dogs.
Yeah, of course. But I'll take your five.
Well, that's because
I'll take your five dogs.
Melbourne's players are in distributing and skilled positions, whereas the Doggies, they do have their superstar in quotes, Matt Burton, there in 6. But I mean, he has proven time and time again in his time at the Dogs that he's good for a fucking wonky bomb to make someone drop.
Yep.
Or a kick that Addo Carr gets.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not distributing the ball adequately to to any edges or his centres or anything like that.
Can I tell you,
he's not ball playing.
I still insist that he is the fucking missed opportunity in the next evolution of our game. Because the last really big change in player roles and what players were expected to do was when Cameron Smith came into the hooking role. And he had such a beautiful short game and kicking game that then developed into a long kicking game that it was like they had 3 halves on the field. To have that ability out in the centres as well, I think if he'd have stayed at Penrith for another year or another 2, that would have been something that Ivan could have worked into the game plan, and every other team would have been chasing it as well, or at least started to train their centres. So for a position that people have typically wanted to get out of, to get more money, I've capped out what I can get as centre money. Now I want to go chase fullback money. It might have also made the centre position relevant again.
Well, I think if the Bulldogs play in Vegas next year, Burton's going to put up about 900 bombs trying to get a fucking NFL kicking contract. So
fucking good on him.
I was going to say that's the next evolution of Matt Burton.
Yeah.
He's realising that he's not a 5'8" and he's in a miserable cunt of a club and going over and look, while punter money is not the riches of a quarterback or a star player, it's still probably triple what he'd be getting at the Dogs
and
for doing a lot less fucking work and taking 0 contact.
Yeah, risk versus reward. Greatest job on earth.
The contact he's taking is literally maybe he might have to put a hit on a guy if the special teams break down and the guy's returning it.
Yeah.
And if he takes contact after a kick, then it's it's going to march him downfield for a penalty as well. So, that's what he should be doing with it. I mean, because he is special. He is special with the boot.
Yeah.
The other thing,
and he won't have to play with Kurt Mann if he goes to the NFL.
Are you guys on the NRL website at the moment?
Yes.
Have a look at that fucking picture of Bronson Cherry, and just look at the ratio between the end of his face and the end of his shoulders. He did some fucking training in Thailand. Training in inverted commas.
He opened a juice bar in quotes with Shandor Earl. Look, we've seen the media around his return and everything like that. I mean,
but no, look at him. Look at the guys. Look at the guys above and below him. Look at Toby Sexton and Curtis Morris. Look at the ratio between the sides of their heads to the sides of their shoulders, and then look at Cherry. He's a fucking caricature.
I'm not sure Toby Sexton is a barometer for anything.
Oh.
No.
But I take your point.
I'd be inclined to agree.
I also feel Para is going to win this game.
Yeah, yep. I think so as well. Easily consigning the Dogs the first couple of bricks on their long road to another miserable fucking bottom 4 season. The Titans take on the Dragons. The Des era begins, promising, I guess, like a harder defensive focus than the Titans traditionally seen. I mean, the Titans are absolutely the team that will win or lose a game, 28-26 every fucking time, or maybe even accumulate like a 26-0 lead to lose at 28-26.
Unless they're playing the Tigers.
And the Dragons, the team that after the preseason they had, I mean, they were, by far and away, after week 1, up to and including week 1 of the trials, they were by far and away my favoured side to get the spoon. And then in the second week of the trials, they played the West Tigers side that was almost full strength. And
that changed your opinion on who was getting the spoon.
Yeah, with the ease with which they handled the West Tigers made me think that maybe the Dragons are second last this year. Maybe. And look, in the Gold Coast trial that I saw, their defence wasn't particularly great, so I don't know what the fuck Desi's been doing either. This one, I don't know. You're going to have to assume, round one, no real form to go on. Titans, I'm going to assume, the Titans definitely had a better preseason because the Dragons had Flano and he couldn't fucking sign a park footballer and get him over there. So, I'm saying Gold Coast. But without any real confidence about how they're going to actually go. I mean, AJ Brimson in centres? Really?
Wouldn't be my choice.
Is that his best position?
Wouldn't be my choice.
Is that his best? What's that?
It wouldn't be my choice for where he plays. But
yeah, I think I saw some media that's not his choice either. And I mean, I guess for him, the plus side is that he only plays like fucking 5 games a season anyway, so he's not going to be there for a long time. But
and then you've got the young Keeney there at fullback. 19-year-old, when you got Brimson, who's more than capable of playing one. I wouldn't suggest for a second that he's going to put Kieran Foran out of a job, but you could definitely play him at one. But they've got a 19-year-old kid there.
You reckon there'll be a switch?
Switch to what?
You think there could be a switch there? Just like push Sammy into the centres and then Brimson fullback and just stick Kinney on the wing.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Maybe it's just a big vote of confidence from Desi.
Maybe Des is playing mind games. Des is playing fucking chess, and everyone else doesn't give a fuck.
Yep.
Yeah, or is it as simple
much like that game?
In training or in the off season, it's for the makeup of the team is best that way. Even though Brimson may be a better fullback, but the other kid may be a much worse winger. Sorry, who knows? Who knows?
Yeah.
We'll see.
Gold Coast, presumably easily too.
Yeah, fuck the Dragons and every single one of their fans.
Wow.
Yeah, because while the way they played in the second trial against the Tigers there, I've got to say, it really disappointed me because I was so looking forward to the Dragons are going through like a winless, miserable fucking season. But I think they might be able to.
You still can. Don't give up
drag
hope.
a game.
Look, in that last trial they had, they let in lots of fucking points against the Tigers, which is about the most damning thing you can do in rugby league, apart from actually being the Tigers.
Yeah.
They are fucking
maybe
horrible.
Anyway.
They are putrid, and their halfback doesn't want to be there.
That is true. That is a subplot I actually forgotten over the off season.
Yeah.
How am I forgetting that? Incredible. The Dolphins taking on the North Queensland Cowboys. This one's happening at Suncorp Stadium. The Dolphins were rocked by some injuries. And I thought that I heard that Herbie or someone was maybe in doubt. Obviously, he's not in doubt anymore. Gilbert did his ACL in the trials, didn't he? So
he's gone.
So he's going to be out for fucking ages. Yeah.
That's
yep.
They've said already season gone.
Wow, and
yeah.
And like that, he was inspirational for those. I mean, he was a big part of the way they went in that sort of first third of the season.
Yep.
And it was a huge loss for them then when he went down with injury, and now doing a whole year without him is not great. The Cowboy side. That's some reasonable try. I actually did see part of a game they had against Canberra where they lost, but they did come home strong and score a lot of tries. Fairly consistent lineup too. Like there's a lot of continuity in there in the side, as it was last year when they had a good season. I mean, based on that, I'm going to go for the Cowboys, but Wayne's got his aura back with the Dolphins
for sure,
and
with another off season with some of these young guys that he's kind of had to bring in for the recruitment, and Nicarima and Sullivan more time together. Who knows? Hammer's always dangerous.
Yeah,
Herbie Farnworth and Flegler are big ins.
They are. I want another magical Kafusi season. Him turning into the fucking default leader of that pack last year was one of my favourite storylines of 2023.
Fair.
Where he just turned in, like, all of a sudden, turned into, like, not a thug, like, turned into an assassin, like a fucking John Wick precision assassin, weighing 250 kilos and just murdering people. That was absolutely amazing.
Right, I'm pumped. Me too. Yeah, me too. You pump me up now. I like it.
Let's go.
You're feeling it now,
yeah, that's it. Fuck the Cowboys.
I think the Cowboys. Don't get too high on fucking Benny juice. All right, don't get too high on jam rolls. Now that's it. Fuck, forgot we already had a couple of games out of the way already. Get your tips in if you're in a tipping competition. Any closing statements from either of you two before we pull the pin on this?
Tigers will put in a solid performance against the bye and probably lose narrowly, but it's early days. Early days.
Funny you mentioned that. I'll have to give credit to the guy who sent us the message about it, although it is something that occurred to me as well, and I was trying to hold it in the chamber for this moment of the show last week. The thing about the Tigers is, Glennie, they're going to get a glorious win against the bye, but with a total absence of for and against in the game, they're going to finish the round in 9th. Guaranteed. And I would also like to shout out Chris for also sending us something, CJ07 on Twitter, CJ4AsY07, for also DMing that to us a couple of days ago.
That's brilliant.
And
right back where we
it's beautiful.
belong.
I love it that the listeners of the show, they're just thinking the whole time the brain's working, they're thinking West Tigers last night. Like that's it. The duality of the West Tigers man. Last or 9th.
And that is full time on this episode of This Week in League.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for picking up the phone. Thanks for calling, Glennie.
Oh, look, you're more than welcome, mate.
I know it's been a tough week for the Toowoomba people with all this Spencer and new shit going on, so I appreciate it.
You're a piece of shit.
Thanks for representing.
Good night.